So let's see if you can hear me. It should be working, I hope. But I have some background noise, so you have to excuse that. And let's see. Some synchronous failure. Let's see if I can fix those. Cool. You can. 1500. Oh, I lost that one. Okay, a little bit better. So let's see. I leave there for now. I need to fix another thing before I actually start here. I ran out of memory. Why is that using? It's only you, Mike Everett Yo. It's only you that is watching. It's actually 7 watching. So it's up to everyone to ask questions that you want to see or know about, because I have a lot of stuff up on the screen and I can show a lot of things as well if needed. And as you can see, my battery bank is kind of empty. First time in over half a year. Cool, Michael. I have the chat on one screen, so that's why I'm looking at the side, and I have the control on the other computer. Yeah, no sun. We have hardly had any sun for a week. We had one day. I think you can see it here. The state of charge. Kinda all going down. That day, 2 days back, I have a decent amount of sun, but not close to what I used to have. So from almost 100% in the beginning of the week to almost 0. So that kind of hurt my battery bank a little bit, but that's what it's for. I have plenty of screens. The first one is merely about showing some of the web pages, and I have prepared the node red, the Grafana ISO as it is, perhaps showing some webmin if anyone wants to know how to start and stop the services. And of course I have the Grafana monitoring, and depending on what people want to see, I can always show some of the Grafana ISO stuff running, for instance the new Batrium logger that I have been working on, and that should be live within a week. How much power I use each day for your place? How many years do you expect your battery banks to last at that rate? That's a good question. How many years it will last, I'm not really sure, because it's a second-hand bank. I have built it up with second-hand cells, even though I'm using lithium iron phosphate as well, and they should last a lot longer. And when they were tested, they had above 80% capacity left, I would say even 90, depending on how you test it, of course. I use somewhere around 16 to 20 kilowatt hours per day, and I think it can be shown here, or at least somewhat shown here. So basically I go from almost 70% down to 57. It's a little bit hard to translate, but around 20 kilowatt hours per day. And I expect my battery bank, the small one, to last 5 years and the big one 10. And that's why, because I use so little per day. I'm still adding batteries. You could most likely use your Raspberry Pi 2 to monitor as well. Depending on what you add up to the monitoring. And I say that because if we go to the Raspberry, you will see that it uses a lot of resources. I'm kind of using all the memory and all the CPU, what it have left. Currently not much CPU, but still. So the Raspberry Pi 2 can be too underpowered perhaps. Depends a little bit, as I said, on what you're running. There we have it running again. And for those that haven't seen, I have a lot of Batrium stuff running. I have two battery banks. I have the main battery bank and I have the secondary battery bank. I should be presenting any screen, I hope. I can see the screen here at least. Selwyn the Great. How much power do your solar panels put into your batteries on a completely cloudy day? That's a good question. On a perfect day, I put in above 100 kilowatt hours. And that's the same as I have in the battery bank currently. On a cloudy day, for instance on a winter day, if we check average, I get 10% of that. So 10 kilowatt hours on a very, very cloudy day. And that's in the winter. In the summer I get at least 40 kilowatt hours. Good morning, Mihai. And Michael, yeah, for easy monitoring that is a good start. Me big. And I actually got the cam running on the electronics part as well, if the image comes up. The problem with two of the cameras that I have running is that they are IP cameras, so they basically tap out a little bit on me. I'm not sure why though. They don't do it on the monitoring itself, they just do it on the OBS. That UI for the Raspberry is quite good actually. I have not done much with it yet, since I'm still developing a lot of things. Let's see if I can go to the correct place. But basically you have, for instance, the Emon CMS. If I know how to log in. Rasp and Raspberry. Dashboards. That was not the one. The thing about Emon CMS is that, or however you say it, is that it's made for electronic stuff. So you can do really, really cool dashboards depending on what you want to show. and it's very mobile friendly as well. So you basically can get all the stats you want in a very decent manner. I have not played around with it a lot right as of now, because I have not had the time and I don't have all the data in a proper place. It's still developing all the stuff. But with the AIM on CMS in combination with the Grafana and the InfluxDB and everything on the Raspberry, you can do a lot. The middleman service that I use today is MQTT. I basically try to run everything through Node-RED. The Raspberry itself has its own servers, so there's nothing on the cloud or outside my network currently. You can of course push it outside if you want as well, but my setup here, everything is stored on the Raspberry Pi, and that makes it very versatile. So you can just log into that one and get the data to your mobile phone or get your data to anything else. As you can see, for instance, the Grafana, if you look at the URL, you will see that that's an external URL. Of course you can go to that if you want, but you won't get in, so that's another thing. But kind of, that's how I use it. Hi Simon, from Australia. I hope you got better weather than I do. Clouds and rain for almost a week. Let's see here. First freeze. We had that a couple of days ago. 1.5 week ago. 1.5 minus. It was cold. It was not pleasant to get up, I can tell. But that day we actually had a decent amount of sun, since no clouds. So that was good. Good morning, Jaron. And for those Selvin the Great, have you tried wind power? Is that even an option for you in your location? Good question. I want to try it, but where I live there is the worst wind condition ever. I mean, we have a lot of wind here, so that's not a problem as such. But where I live on some kind of a hill where the wind kind of goes around us. So the average wind here is below 2 meters per second, and most power plants start at 3 or above. And most of the smaller ones need at least 8 or 10 meters per second to actually work. So for me to get that type of wind, I need to go up at least 40 meters in the air. And for that I need permits and everything. And based on the cost, I get more kilowatt hours out of solar panels, adding extra solar panels up, than actually going wind. So unfortunately it's no option for me. And I have used wind meters and logging it for over 2 years and stuff like that to actually see what the result could have been. So no. I do not have an 18650 shirt. I have Blåkläder. I don't know if this can be seen. That's a Swedish brand for good clothing. So no 18650 t-shirt, but I should get one. Simon Inga, why did I get the 3-phase unit instead of the pips? That's a good question, and I can easily answer it as well. So basically, I'm using 3-phase system, and then I would have needed to get 3 of the pips, and I don't like the pips. They work, but they are not as efficient as the MPI is. And secondly, I want high voltage system on the roof because I have some meters to get it, so I would have needed the new pips, and when I bought my system, the new high voltage pips did not exist. So basically, currently I have the MPI and I have 1 pip, so I can produce at least 14 kilowatt current continuous. So I would have needed 4 pips for getting up there. Good morning, Freddy, South Africa. Must be hotter. Thank you, Aaron. Then I will download the new payloads and get that going. If you don't know, Yaron is the one maintaining Batrium. And we have a little bit of collaboration to get stuff running. And one of the things is what you can see here. The so-called Batrium logger, or the Watchmon UDP listener, that will get you the data from the Watchmon. You can run it on Windows, you can run it on Raspberry, you can run it everywhere where you can run Node.js. And you will get it in MQ in JSON format, and you can send that to MQTT or Influx currently. And it will be released very, very soon. So keep your eyes open for that. AX7. Yeah, I have 2 Batrium systems running, and I am about to order the 3rd one, mainly for testing, but yeah, I have 2. And it's a good practice to have 1 for each, I would say that. FMARPT, hi on you too. Selwyn the Great, the coldest that gets here, minus 40 Celsius. That must be the coldest that we have had. Generally it doesn't go below minus 20. So 12AX7, the Batrium. Yeah, I do recommend to get yourself a Batrium system. As some of you might remember, I was looking at and was planning for actually building myself a system. I went rather far with it, and I did put in a lot of money into it as well. Until I found out about Batrium through Peter, and suddenly realized that the system that I was designing and I have spent a lot of money in was exactly the system that Jaron have made. So that's the life. I went with Batrium because they had what I needed, and more importantly, they gave me the support that I needed. Vim, yeah, Celsius. Minus 20 Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Yeah, we go from minus 20 in the winter, really cold winter days, to plus 35 in the summer when we have it really, really hot here. So one thing about the cold is that I tend to get some problem. I need to sort the problem I have with isolating the batteries, because preferably they should not go below plus 10 Celsius. And if you take a look at the main battery bank, you can see I have a reporting of minus 17 now, and that's not correct. It's actually plus 9 out today, so it's not minus 17. We need to sort that though. So currently it's not that cold, but it's going down rather fast now. FMARPT. It will be open sourced. It's not yet. As Yaron wrote, we need to sort that out ASAP. Yeah, we are working on it. We are spending a lot of time on sorting all those things. It's a high demand from the public to get it done. Vim, yeah, I could put them in balancing and that will generate some heat, but my main battery bank does not have any enclosure yet. I have all the materials for that, and I have started to work on the enclosure with the ventilation. So basically I'm actually going to take the ventilation or the heat. If we take a look at this part here, this is my enclosure for the electronics now. And that one do generate a significant amount of heat due to the amount of stuff inside. So basically I'm going to take the heat from this enclosure and transfer it to the main battery bank, and the main battery bank sits above this. So it's actually made with the purpose to have it like that, because then I can transfer the heat to the main battery bank during the winter to keep them heated up. And the reason for that is, as I said, we have it very cold. The battery bank beneath, you can see 2 rows of laptop cells. They are not affected in the same way because they are in my garage. And note that my garage is not close to my house, it's far away. So the garage is actually heated during the winter. So that's not a problem, it never goes below plus 10 in the winter here. Hey Peter! So you're here now. Welcome. Simon, if you take a look at yeah, for the first time in since I inserted the bank, I have managed to completely deplete the bank. If you look at the state of charge here, you will see that my main battery bank is at 3.5% and my secondary is at 29.5%. So I kind of emptied the bank this night, and I knew it would happen. And this was for testing purposes. And that's why they are so uneven, because they are very, very close to the end. If I just charge them up slightly, just a little bit, they will go flat again. So I kind of depleted the bank, and that's why they are so uneven. So don't be worried about that. It's a pure test, and now I know where I have my system. I also tested the end voltage cutoff this night, and it worked flawlessly. It did cut off whenever it was supposed to cut off. So now I need sun to charge this up again. I hope that's answered your question, Simon. 12AX7, yeah. I have been looking at mining. But the problem is where I live, to buy a proper mining machine, I would have been needed to wait for at least 1 month or more, or pay high dollar. And the cost of the solar and cost of the energy here is it's not worth it to do it. FMAR, I can't pronounce that. Yeah, the Batrium logger, I would want to pre-release it. I'm not really there yet, so I still have some things to sort. The auto start and everything, it works great, but I have some other minor issues that I need to sort. Selvin the Great, what would I change if I could? A lot of things. I would change a lot of things. With that said, I'm still happy with the system. It works great. It works really, really great. But I would not have bought the PIP, for instance, as the first one, because the PIP is too small for me. If so, I would have gone with 6 pips in parallel, of course, for 3-phase. But my main thing, I would have changed and used a high voltage DC inverter instead for the battery bank. Preferably one with known brand. I have been looking at Schneider and some others as well, and they aren't that much more expensive compared to what I paid today. So they actually work. That's one thing I would change. And secondly, I would probably have built an own house for all this stuff. Unfortunately, I cannot do it on the property I have today. So that's the big things I would have changed. Simon, the low voltage cutoff. Depends if you are looking at the lithium iron phosphate or the lithium ion, the laptop cells, the normal laptop cells. For normal laptop cells that most people are using, my charge stop is at 4 volt. And my cut off voltage would be somewhere around, you can see the number somewhere here. Of course there is one that is dipping low, but my cutoff voltage is around 49 volts. And my main battery bank consists of 16 cells, and my secondary consists of 14 cells. So you can calculate what that should end up at. I did not run with the Batrium as protection for low voltage, because this was about testing the actual cells itself, so I were manually monitoring it. The Batrium will be running with, let's see if I can show you guys. Two of these badass boys, one 300 amp and one 200 amp, and they will be controlled by the Batrium system. They will have one each, and they will be able to actually disconnect the battery banks if any of the cell or packs goes low or lower than they should. There are still some testing to do and stuff like that, so currently I don't have this protection installed, and that's perhaps not the ideal situation, but that's how it is. Martin van der Hort, how high would a high voltage inverter be for you? I'm talking about somewhere around 150 to 350 volt DC. That's where those inverters that I have looked at have been. High voltage is generally at least above 50 volt. Some say it's above 150, I don't know. FMARPT. I have not replaced a single cell so far. I have been running my laptop packs on and off for almost a year now. I started small, I started with some strings, I did not film it in the beginning at all. And I have not replaced a single cell so far. Though, with that said, I have not checked for broken fuses regularly, but when I mounted the last ones a month or 2 months back, I did not have any broken cells. 12AX7, yeah, it's huge. It's really huge, and that's because it needs to be able to actually work. And the breaker itself is loud. Imagine me testing that breaker with the Batrium, and it went off several times. I had to go and get my ear protection because it was so loud. Average Joe. Yeah, I recommend to check out if you want something like this. They actually sell it on eBay. This is an industrial breaker, and sometimes you tend to get them very cheap. Let's see if... yeah. Some guys actually sell them down to actually around 60 euro. So look into that. I'm not immediate if it was for me 12AX7. I'm pretty long. I'm like 190. I did... see if I can show you this one. So basically we have the normal sized DIN mounted stuff here. This is actually a ATS. perhaps not an ATS in sense of automatic because it's manual. But with this one you can actually switch between loads, so it's rather nifty. But here you have one of the contactors that I bought, and you can see the size difference. So this is actually a type that you could be using as well. This one is rated, I think, 65 amp. It's rather huge as well. The 48 volt APC UPSs are a lot easier to handle than the 192 volt. 48 volt in general is a lot more safer to handle than above 150 volt. If you haven't looked into YouTube, search for Jacob's ladder and solar panels, and if you do that you will see that like 6 panels in series will create a spark, or this so-called Jacob's ladder that is really long. We are talking about several centimeters if you pull the cables apart, so that's why it's so dangerous to work with. Selwyn, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Yo, you have a lot of UPS followers. I would say that you are one of the main UPS channels. So let's see how we are doing. 21 viewers, not bad at all. What's important about the UPS stuff is that not all of them are even close to made for charging lithium ion. Some of them you can set the bulk and float charge voltages, and by doing that you could get it work. Other than that, it's important to also understand that the smaller UPS systems are not made for 100% runtime. Some of them even state that you are not allowed to put bigger battery than number of amp hours on it, and that's because you may overload them. With that said, I had a small, I think it was 500 VA UPS, compact, white. I had several car batteries for that hooked up to that one, and I were running my computers for a temporary system when we have power outages a couple of years back. That one is still running hard, and I have been running it with full load, and we're talking about 95% at least for hours, even a day in a row, without a problem. So some UPSs actually work better than others. Oh, it's working. 12 volt. Yeah, 12 volt is a little bit tricky to run with lithium ion. And that's because 3S is generally too low and 4S could be too high. And it's good practice to not use the UPS or the unit for low voltage cutout. Because as soon as you have just a power draw that's a little bit bigger, you will hit that low cutoff, even though the batteries are not even close to being empty. "12 kilowatt UPS, that's pretty hefty. I have one bigger left. I think it is 30 kilowatt. It's massive. It's like really big. I have not brought it home yet though. I don't know what I should have it to. Yeah, as I said, some UPSs works more than fine, and if you know what you're doing, go for it. Yeah, a few £100. Yeah, I know it. I don't remember how heavy ours was, the big one, but it's mostly the batteries that weigh. And it's not that much batteries in that one at all. I think it can power at full load for 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. So it's a rather small one. But it could power my house easily. It's a 3-phase 30 kilowatt UPS. So guys, what do you want to see? I will be spending roughly 20 more minutes today. I don't have too much time actually. My family is wanting me to come in as well. So just ask away. Boobs. Nah, I'm not going to show you my boobs, yo. Not today. Not so everyone else has to see it. I mean, it's enough that you see it sometimes, so yeah. So what are you guys going to do today? I believe it is Sunday in most places, or perhaps early Monday. Go to bed. Yeah, it's a decent late for some people. The reason I did a stream this time is because frankly I couldn't make it another time, kind of. So I had to do it when I could. Broken fuses looking, yeah. Stop break the fuses, yo. That's a tip from me. Max Håkans. It sounds like you're Swedish? If so, PM me and I will send you the link to where I got my panels. There is a guy from Stockholm that sells new old stock panels where he fetches from Europe. And it's a decent price. And they're just not mounted, so contact me. Nap time, yeah. So you get buffering. I'm running the lowest delay in YouTube. I'm not sure if that's so wise. I should perhaps use in the middle next time. How much is it buffering, yo? Peter, just so you know, I have 18 kilowatts more of lithium iron phosphate on the way. They will arrive next week. So. Vim B. Yes, both battery banks are parallel to the system. They are both connected to the green inverter and they are both connected to the charges itself. If we take a look at this image here, you will see that I have the green to the right, and then I have the PIP 4048 in the middle, and to the left I have two PCM 60X, and they are all hooked up to the same battery bank. Same battery system, I would say. It's two battery banks. And it worked great. It actually works really great, but you need to understand the differences between lithium iron phosphate and normal lithium bank, because they behave differently. It shouldn't buffer. I don't like that. I mean, I have 300 megabit fiber, but it may be since I'm running the low latency on YouTube, because that could cause buffering for people. So next time I will try to do it in the middle instead. No 1850 stuff today, Martin. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing. I'm not going to do any 18650 stuff either today because I need to work on other things. yeah. Unfortunately, Peter will win when it comes to laptop cells. I have no way of scavenging that amount of laptop cells or cells coming from laptops in cells. So that's a dead meat for me. Okay, yo. Do that, Peter. Screenshot your OBS. I mean, I think the OBS is fine. It's just a matter of in the YouTube page you can set the latency that users will get, and normally it's set for high latency and less buffering. I set it to the lowest to see if it worked, and I have been running it during the night, and that seemed to have worked fine testing from my end. Dual DSL lines, yeah, that was some day. I'm living in the middle of the forest, so basically I have 3 kilometers of fiber through the woods to my place. And that's one of the lucky things in Sweden, because we have fiber in many places today. Yeah, all my lithium iron phosphate, they are still 18650 cells, and they are still second-hand batteries. When I got them, they actually were trashed. Let's see here if we can change. Here you have the lithium iron phosphate batteries that I am using. This one in the box, it's a 12 volt version. 100 cells in each pack, 4 in series, 130 amp hours. This one have been scrapped out. This one have no BMS at all. I don't know if the screen will capture it properly. Let's do it here instead. So basically, this is what my main bank consists of. And they are heavy. They are so damn heavy. So I got them rather cheap. And what I did is that I added up the Batrium system to them in afterwards. And if you haven't checked that out, check the videos. I think I have them in the list down below. And now I got all... Jaron, you should come and visit me. I mean, a road trip to Sweden, that can't be that far. Yo, I have built my new staircase for my second floor, so I hope I don't fall off the ladder anymore. FMAR PT medical pack. It's really difficult to get batteries in Sweden without proper, what to say, connections. I don't have any connections in the medical industry. Even though I'm an IT guy and I work with many IT companies, I don't have any connection to the medical parts. I'm still trying to source that. But I have connection with companies that work with a lot of laptops, and we are talking about thousands of laptops per year. But the problem is that the laptops that many places have in Sweden today have built-in batteries, and they are this type here. So basically they may not be suited for our application, but still, we'll see. Michael Letterwood, yeah. And Vim, it took Peter a year to do this multi-camera thing. The thing is, even though I have not streamed live, I have been using both this software and another software for streaming in my work, that is. So I have actually played around with it before. Just a matter of I have not been working with it for YouTube. So multi-camera is something that I have done for a couple of years. It works really good as long as the equipment you're using are decent. The problem I have currently with the multi-camera, as you can see here, is that I have a slight delay between the videos. I have tried to synchronize it, but I'm using RTSP for the second camera, the ones that is up here, and that's causing the delay. The kangaroo will get very cold. Yeah. I still need to order more Longmons and a Watchmon. I have not had time to look into what I need actually, so 12AX7, yeah. The fun part is that if we talk about free packs, I have not found many free packs. I have perhaps gotten 300 packs in total that were totally free. Rest I have paid for in one way or another. Ja du. I will answer you in English. So Google are going to build in Avesta. That's cool. Yeah, I hope for the best. Sorry. I really hope for some sun today. It's not much of a charge going into the battery bank as of yet. So there's a lot of work. Might be that I even have to turn on the AC charging today to get it working, because the weather report says it will not get better until next week. It's actually, the weather report states that we will have rain and really bad weather for another week. So I might have to turn on the AC charging to get the battery bank up again. That sounds great, Jaron. Let me know when you're coming. I might try to get to Australia myself. I not. Problem is that I got too much work to do currently, so I'm not really into traveling right now. And I travel a lot in work as well, so that makes it a little bit harder. Peter, yeah. That's something we all have in common. We hate the clouds and the rain of some reason. And the software have still not crashed, Jaron. It's still running. That looks good. And I added some colors for you as well, if you like that. It really doesn't matter because this will be hidden in the background. I can show you guys a little bit. If we go back to this screen. In on the Grafana ISO that I've made for the Raspberry, some of you guys already know that I have been working on getting it to auto start and everything like that. And in the new version that will come out, I have added all the stuff as services, so it's a lot easier to actually work with them and start them up and stop them down if you need to. You still need to do the configuration in the files if you are going to do special stuff. But as you can see here, you have the Batrium service. So you basically can go in here and start and stop it if you want. And let's see if we can drag this down. A little bit further down we have the solar stuff. So we have the MPI, the PCM and the PIP. So basically you can run them as a startup, auto startup as well. So that's what I have done as well in this ISO. I think that's needed because, as you all know, the Raspberry, even though it's pretty stable, with all this crap running on it, it doesn't always work 100%. And there's a lot of work going into actually sorting memory issues and all that stuff. Wimby, The green ones only have a metal filter, so they have no proper filter. They have better filter than the PIP have. So with that said, it actually catches a lot of dust, but it doesn't catch it everything. And when I do install the airflow system to heat the upper part and also be able to actually cool the MPI, there will be proper air filters. So I will do that. Currently I have actually blown out the dust a couple of times since I bought it, since I have the air compressor and everything. Yeah, Yaron, US would be nice. 12AX7, just find some neighbor kids to run on a treadmill for you. I don't have many neighbor kids, I have my own kids here. We have one neighbor and they are like 70 years old, so I don't think they want to run on the treadmill for me. Peter, yeah, you need to get your stuff up and running. Just give me a shout and I will try to help you out. But you should do it with the new ISO, not the old one. It's rather different stuff on it. Wim, the new ISO is a little bit easier. I have not made my videos for perhaps the most, let's say, for the beginners, the beginners. I have made videos in somewhere in the middle. I tried at least. So, and the reason for that is because I prefer if people have some understanding of some parts. With that said, I'm more than happy to help people to gain that knowledge. So if I need to add more stuff, I would easily put it out, so to say. So just let me know. FMARPT. Yes, Imon CMS have some quirks, and one of them, as he said, is the delay, how it processes. So it's not that accurate. I have started to actually do processing in Influx somewhat. You can do grouping there and do some of the processing directly in the queries. With that said, it's not that accurate either, unless you run background job processing every data point. I'm running data points every second now, and you could potentially process those, but doing that live doesn't work very well, not on Raspberry Pi. Peter, learning something new. It's like old dogs, you never learn them to sit, or something like that. Yaron, did you retract your message? Too old to learn, brain full. I wouldn't say that. You can always learn new stuff, but on the other hand, you may not want to learn new stuff. I mean, I'm like that. I prefer only to learn stuff that I have an interest in. Let's see if we can get that back. We're getting a tiny bit more sun, 350 watt now. We are far off from my 17 kilowatts that I have on the roof. So yeah. We are closing into 9:30 my time. We have 5 minutes left. I will try to keep my time to 1 hour this morning because I have so much other things to do. I have like 6 videos that I need to edit. 3 of them being solar related, 1 of them being Batrium related. So I'm far behind on that as well. So if you have anything that you want to add or ask or want me to show, 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left. Will that be included on the ISO? You're talking about the calculation, right? I hope. If that's the case, yes, I will leave a couple of examples there. I will not have time to fully do it. Let's see if we can get... I think I can show you something. It's good when I do something on the screen and then I'm not showing you guys the screen. Let's see here. For instance, yeah, I have not been running this all the time. As you can see here, I have generated watt-hour last 24 hours. So stuff like that, I will be adding the queries to do that. So you can yourself, if you have some knowledge in, modify it. I also have a plan. I want to get some sort of dashboard up and running before I release it that have them, at least the main stuff. I don't have everything yet, but I'm still working on it. Let's see if I can. Yo, you always want to see everything. You're allowed to see everything if you want. Martin, thank you too. Ja, du. What 000 what? The red numbers on the Batrium that is 000. Let me see if I can find that. You're talking about those here. The red in the middle. If that's the case, that's the balancing part. I'm not doing any balancing on the Batrium system right now, that's why they are 0. Yeah, no subscriber count changing. It's a little bit wrong time zone to get the proper viewers perhaps, because my main viewers are... I have a lot in Europe, but I still have a lot of them in US and Australia. I like your name, Yadu. I'm guessing you're born 79. Or perhaps it's just a number. So we're running down to the last minutes. And first live stream. I have been running it for 58 minutes now, so 2 minutes left. Last questions, and then we close it for today. Show all I'm having a rest day, L rest day, I'm not sure. Next week, same time, I'm not sure. We'll see about the live streaming. I have so many videos that I need to get out as well, but at the same time, it's a quick and easy way to answer a couple of questions. So it might be that I do a smaller live stream, let's say half an hour or something like that. We'll see about that. The third clone, I'm working on the fourth. The second and the third clone didn't work out, so I have to ditch them, unfortunately. They did what I wanted the first day, and then they just left me alone. So that's how it is. Make videos while doing live stream. I'm not sure if that's so appropriate. When doing the videos, you need to concentrate a bit, and then I mean, it wouldn't be a very good stream. Not of me cutting videos back and forth, adding sound and stuff, and no. So guys, I think we are settling down. I don't know. We're just above 1 hour. So I would say thank you all for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, just subscribe down below. So I need to say that because the ones that are watching this afterwards will miss it. So anyways, next live stream will come. When, where, I don't know. We'll see. Demand and everything. So once again, thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye all.